Greetings, my movie geeks. Back when I was a young movie geek, I saw a film that blew my imagination. It was a musical, it was colourful, and it was laugh out loud funny. A Disney film that has a princess, a street rat, and a villain who desires power. It was part of the Disney Renaissance of the 90s and appealed to me a lot more than Beauty and the Beast, Cinderella, and Little Mermaid. But why don't I let my younger self recap the story in a segment I like to call Raiders of the Lost Review.
Hello, I'm the Movie Geek, and we're going to be talking about Aladdin. It's really good. It's so funny, and the music's awesome. So let's get right into it, guys. Aladdin, a street rat, is tricked into going to a cave called the Cave of Wonders. Then he finds a lamp. He rubs the lamp, and then he finds a genie. Grants him 3 wishes. Aladdin, his first wish is to become a prince so he can marry Princess Jasmine. She's beautiful, love. Jafar finds that Aladdin, the street rat, come at me bro, and Prince Ali, yo, are the same people. He tries to kill him by drowning him, but the genie has to use his second wish to save him. Jafar gets a lamp, he rubs it, and the genie asks what's his first wish, and he wishes to become sultan. He sends Aladdin very far away from where he was, and then his second wish to become a powerful sorcerer. Aladdin tricks him into becoming a genie, and then he traps him in the lamp, and then he's back in his cage. So someone go and get him. And that is the end of Aladdin. Thank you for listening to this review. I hope future me watches this, and I thought the film really funny. The music was awesome. Awesome.
Thanks, younger me.
You're welcome, future me.
What? Anyway, Aladdin 2019 is a live-action remake directed by Guy Ritchie and starring Mena Massoud as Aladdin, Naomi Scott as Jasmine, and Will Smith as the Genie. Following the same story as the 1992 classic animated movie, it makes some changes and reinforces some of the theories thrown around from the original, such as the storyteller actually being the genie. The film opens on water with 2 boats sailing past each other. The smaller boat is where the story begins, with Smith's character beginning to tell his children the story of Aladdin. It's a nice touch which gives us a way in and stays true to the original by having the story be a story. I'll admit, I went into this film feeling completely apprehensive. It's yet another Disney live-action remake in a long line of Disney live-action remakes that I, have believed that they haven't always landed. Look at my recent review of Dumbo if you want to see how I felt about that. But from the opening few lines of Arabian Nights performed by Will Smith, and in all honesty, I was transported back to being a young boy that you saw earlier. Aladdin was my favourite Disney film, as it gave us a whole new world of stories that we could get behind. Up until that, we had princess-focused fairy tale movies that didn't really appeal to me. I wasn't in that demographic. But Aladdin was different, and finding that with the first few moments, I was smiling wildly and tapping my foot to the music, I felt as though I may enjoy this remake. But then I realised, when his name appeared on screen, that it was directed by Guy Ritchie, best known for his Cockney gangster films and Sherlock Holmes movies. How can he make a musical good? But my worries were put aside quite quickly with the opening track, which introduces the main players of the film.
Arabian Night.
Then the story starts with Aladdin quickly meeting Jasmine in the market and saving her for giving food to hungry children. There's a bit of a downside where the princess doesn't know what money is. It still doesn't ring true like in the original. But then we have the song One Jump Ahead, performed by Mina Masood. And it has all the excitement and flair of the original, even though a lot of it is toned down for the semi-realistic world that we're living in. It is funny to see the guards sing back to Aladdin as he evades capture, and it still has the heart of the original song. It's good that they mix the song with Aladdin's meeting with Jasmine, because in the original, they have the song and then they have the meet, and it's just a way of moving the story forward, and it seems to work a lot better than the original did. But then we get a few changes. Aladdin is caught in the palace returning a bracelet instead of being locked up and tricked by Jafar, pretending to be an old man. He's taken straight to the desert. This, again, I feel was just done to move the story forward. We want to get to the Cave of Wonders. We want to meet the Genie. And then you get the character of Jafar. And if there are any negatives to this film, it's possibly the portrayal of Jafar. The actor Marwan Kenzari isn't that bad, but he just doesn't seem to have the gravitas or the villainous sneakiness about him. The live-action Jafar doesn't have anything about him. He is an out-and-out villain, but lacks any character. And sadly, the 2D version of Jafar has a better voice as well. Saying that, the filmmakers hint at a link between Jafar and Aladdin by suggesting that they are both two sides of the same coin, both coming from the streets. Jafar building his way up to second in command to the Sultan, and Aladdin wanting to be up there. It's a nice moment showing how Jafar retrieves the lamp from Aladdin, hinting that there's a little bit more character there than depicted in the original. It's always the same. Something always suffers in these remakes, and usually it's the villain. Let's hope Scar is portrayed a little bit better later in the year. Aladdin is taken to the Cave of Wonders, which is a literal Aladdin's cave. Sorry. It turns out he is the diamond in the rough and gains access, although he does fall from the mouth onto a plinth, and you kind of think that it's a little bit unsafe. So if he is the diamond in the rough, what if he fell to his death? I don't know. He's warned not to touch anything other than the lamp, and he and Abu go in. The Cave of Wonders is, again, the head of the tiger, but in the age of CGI, they didn't make it move at all. You just heard the voice coming out, and you would have expected it to have moved like it did in the cartoon, or at least I wanted that. I wanted it to be like, because it would have looked better. And then we get what we've all been worried about. Waiting for. Will Smith's Genie.
You ain't never had a friend like me.
Now, Robin Williams was amazing as the Genie, improvising a lot of his lines, making the animators animate around the material that he's spewing. There was a whole falling out between Disney and Williams due to the advertising of the Genie and the fact that everything that he does, because it's a voice characterization that Robin Williams is doing, he felt like they were taking a piece of him. Other people have done this on YouTube, so I'd go and watch their videos. It is an interesting story, and it involves an original Pablo Picasso being sent to him. Because of all Williams' input, the character of the Genie is one of the funniest and most interesting characters in animated Disney history. You have the idea that he may have lived for 10,000 years, but does that mean that Aladdin is set in the future? Because we get images of Jack Nicholson and other 90s references, which I can't actually remember off the top of my head. It's good. It's arguably that without Williams, the original film may not have been as popular as it was. But this is a remake, a live-action remake. And when the first images of Smith's Genie came out, there was backlash. He wasn't blue. He had legs. He clearly doesn't have the chops to compare with Williams. But fortunately, Disney had focused on Smith's strengths, which is music, laugh out loud funny, and a feast for the eyes and ears. Smith performs Friend Like Me as though it was his own.
Watch this. Watch out! You done wound me up. You ain't never had a friend like me.
Stirring up memories from my childhood and giving it a new flair for today's audiences. It's easy to compare this song to the other songs in the Disney pantheon, such as Circle of Life in the opening of Lion King. Beauty and the Beast, Be Our Guest, which, if you look at my Beauty and the Beast review, it was abysmally done in the 2007 live-action remake. What makes this stand out is the makers haven't held back on the colour. They have tried to make this realistic, but at the same time they've thrown colour at the screen, making it look magical. The changes are so highly welcome, making the song noticeable, different to the original. It was lucky I was sat on the back row because I was moving to the beat and tapping my feet. I was almost singing. The story is basically the same as the original, but with some changes that arguably improved the original story. These changes are an improvement to Jasmine's character. She is given more to do, not just being a damsel in distress who wants to escape her life. In this version, as with the original, she is to be married off to a prince because that is the law. But the difference here is that she wants to and is shown to be a better ruler than all the men in the film. This is where the new song comes in. Speechless, performed by Naomi Scott, is a solo for Jasmine. Where she is put down or told to be silent, this is her defiant song, standing up to the men in her life who seem to just treat her as just a woman who should be seen and not heard. It's less egregious and forgettable compared to Evermore or Days in the Sun from Beauty and the Beast, actually adding to the story and adding crucial character development to Jasmine. The live-action Disney remakes are a quick cash grab, preying on the nostalgia of moviegoers who have grown up with these animated greats. Some, like Beauty and the Beast and Dumbo, have for me been completely pointless, not living up to the originals in both style or quality. They have been boring and unwanted, stretching out the original stories with pointless action, look at Dumbo, or basically copying the original Beauty and the Beast, removing anything that made it special. But Aladdin is a quality remake, jam-packed, full of fun. It tries not to lean on the original, having one or two nods, but at the same time, it improves some of the characters that were back fairly paper thin. It isn't perfect by any stretch. Jafar is wasted and may have benefited by being played by an older actor who's more seasoned. But it goes out to give the audience a good time through story and music and visuals. Smith makes Genie his own. He doesn't step on the toes of Williams. He is funny and gives some good laugh-out-loud moments in both his blue form and when he's disguised as a human. But the standout is the music. The songs Friend Like Me, Prince Ali and Arabian Nights are performed with an intensity that, dare I say it, outshines the original. Since I saw the movie on Saturday, I have listened to the soundtrack several times. It's also interesting to have the old Will Smith back, having him perform a track for the film that he's starring in. And it turns out, I think I've missed this Will Smith. If you haven't seen the film yet, I don't know why you're watching this review, but still go and listen to the soundtrack. Out of all the Disney live-action remakes, and despite liking The Jungle Book, I did enjoy it. I think this is the best one they've done so far. This movie is well made, it's brilliantly choreographed and hilariously funny at points. Let us know what you think in the comments down below, and please follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can also follow me on Twitter at Movie Ultimate. I also host a podcast called the Man About a Dog Movie Podcast, or Mad Movie Pod. You can also find that on Twitter at Mad Movie Pod and on Instagram at Mad Movie Pod. Get in touch via the email at madmoviepod at gmail.com, and just let us know what you thought of Aladdin. Was it good? Did you enjoy Will Smith's interpretation of the genie? Aladdin is out now in cinemas, and thanks for watching. Thanks, younger me.
You're welcome, future me.
What?
Did I just talk to the future? Let's go forwards into the future. Let's get a car with a weird scientist.
Anyway.